Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you who don't know, my name is Mercy and you're most welcome. So first of all, Happy New Year. This is my first video in 2016 and yeah, I know it's a bit late, but we have people that will be saying Happy New Year till July, so I think I'm good. I was on the phone with a friend of mine on the 30th of December. And we discussed a lot of things about what I can talk about in the new year. We just life in general. But from our conversation, I got a few ideas for the new year. And one of the things that we spoke about was letting things go and letting people go. We're entering into a new season, into a new chapter. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says there's a time and a season for everything under the heavens. And I mean, for those of you who are not Christians, it's okay. But yeah, so I realized that I have a lot of people, or we have a lot of people in general, just us as human beings. We have a lot of people in our lives that are just occupying space in our lives. Like, they're not doing anything, they're not taking us anywhere, they're not edifying us, we're not growing from each other. And this year, if you're not taking me anywhere, if you're not adding to my life, if I'm not adding to your life, what's the point? Like, there's just no point. It's not really a friendship then, is it? It's just, you're just in my life for the sake of it. No, I'm tired of people just occupying spaces in my life for no reason. So I decided to let it go and let them go. Let me speak about me. Where God has taken me, personally, I feel like this year God has taken me to so many new places. Not physically, but just taken me to a different level and to new avenues that some people can't come with me. And it may sound so like, oh my God, like, why is she saying that? But I realize that there's some people that God has put in your life for a season. And as I said, Ecclesiastes 3:1 says that there's a time and a season for everything under the heaven. So there's people that I've noticed we have seasonal friendships. There's people that are coming to your life that God has put in your life for a season. And these people will serve their purpose for the season which God has sent them to serve their purpose, and then they'll go. But what I've noticed is that we tend to hold on to these people even though that their purpose is done and served in our lives. And if we hold on to people that they no longer need to be with us the rest of the journey, then we're just holding ourselves back and we're holding them back as well. So that's what I mean by we need to let them go. I'm not saying it in a sense that whoever's not talking to you, cut them out. No. You can still have them there, but you need to differentiate between who's taking you somewhere and who's not. You can't just have a friendship that you're not edifying each other. I don't think that's a friendship. So you need to differentiate between what's a seasonal friend and who's a friend to stay, or who's a friend that God is still using them in your life. Another thing I've realized is that sometimes when we're with people, I've spoken about this in my friendship video. I think this is kind of like that, but a bit more in depth. So sometimes when we're in friendships and we're either in relationships as well, we get to a point, as I said, where we're not taking each other anywhere. You're not edifying me, I'm not edifying you, and we're just here. But you have to ask God to separate you from people that are not taking you anywhere. But before you make that prayer, you need to understand that God really does answer prayers. And it's so funny, what I've noticed is that I tend to get to a situation or get to a stage in a friendship or a relationship with somebody where I realize that this isn't working, or God, like, you're not edifying me. And I'm always going to use that word. If somebody's not adding to my life, if you're not building me, what is your purpose in my life? Like, what are you doing here? Yeah, so ask God to separate you. And one thing that I've noticed as well is when we do ask for this prayer, sometimes we see things that are changing. We do see that, like, there's a distance. And then we start to ask God why. Really? Like, we prayed that God should separate us, and then we start to ask God, why are these people being distant? But I had to come to my senses in a time of prayer and be like, okay, fair enough, I did ask for this. But so my point is, when you ask God to separate you from somebody and then he does, don't go back and ask him what's going on, because he's just done what you asked him to do and he's done his will. And if another thing is, if you ask God to separate you but he doesn't do it, don't take it as if God isn't answering your prayer or God isn't doing something. Take it as, this person still is needed in my life. And you may not see how they're needed. You may not see what their purpose is, but God does and God knows. Have a moment of self-reflection. Take some time. I know obviously people back in school, people back in uni, people back in work, and it can be a bit difficult, but take some time and see who's in your life occupying space and who's in your life to edify you or to add on to it. Another thing is, you can't enter a new season with things that you're holding on to from other seasons that have passed. I'm going to keep going back to the scripture. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says there's a time and a season for everything under the heavens. So there was a time that you needed that person and there was a season for that person being in your life, but that season might have ended. That season might have really come to an end, but you're still holding on. And where is it taking you? Nowhere. You're just taking up, that person's just taking up space. And what's the point? You know, what is the actual point? Isaiah 43:18-19 says, forget the former things, see I'm doing something new. God is doing something new in all of our lives. Each and every person, even if you're a non-believer, he's doing something new in your life. And you will see it and you will say, this God really exists. He's doing something in all of our lives. And we can't enter something into a new season with things from other seasons. We really can't. So, I mean, it's up to you. Check yourself. I'm checking myself. A few people need to leave my life, and they should really stay back in 2015, because that's where their season ended, you know. And yeah, I feel like I've digressed and I've spoken about so many different things, but yeah, I had to just let it all out in this first video. And yeah, God bless, and I'll see you guys in my next video.